It is 6:01, and we are going to begin our CCDR committee meeting. Thank you guys for being here. Today, I'm looking, and we have Ms. Chichester and Mrs. Clear and myself. We also have Madam Mayor and our city administrator. I did hear from Mr. Davis. He is running late, but we'll get started. You guys should all have a copy of, it's okay, our agenda for the evening. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add or change to the agenda? Hearing none, I will move on. You guys all should have received a copy of last month's meeting minutes. Have you guys had the opportunity to review them?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I did have one question about attendance. Did we hear from Miss Alexander?
We have not heard from Miss Alexander. This is not typical, so I am assuming that this is an extreme circumstance. So we will see her when she arrives, if she arrives.
Okay.
I will have my phone on me in the event there is an emergency and she needs assistance. Yeah. Any other questions?
I did have something to say about the minutes, but
Absolutely.
I wanted to follow up on the attendance first. One feels very loud to me. Maybe it's just because the room is so empty today.
It's so quiet.
Yes. So I did have question on page 4.
Okay.
Regarding the community garden update.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my memory is fuzzy because this meeting happened and then we had another council meeting the following week.
Mm-hmm.
Was it in this meeting or the council meeting that we talked about the school garden location for the community garden? And we had some discussion that was already being managed by the school and had some school projects going on.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if that was the council meeting or this meeting.
Might have been the council meeting.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. So I'll just.
We could double check.
No, yeah.
Here.
As long as it's captured somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. And then also further down under Pies Park,
Mm-hmm.
it says, I suggested posting temporary signage restricting access until maintenance is completed,
Okay.
or leaving the gate closed until the grass is cut, not open, because that doesn't make any sense. I wanted to say that I said leave it closed.
Yes, I see that.
Okay.
I'm talking with Miss Alexander, and we will get that updated.
Okay.
With those. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, you know me.
No, I welcome it.
Veterans Park update says on page 5, initial contact has been established, and it says with stakeholders involved in the redesign effort. I'm not understanding what that's referring to. I know we talked about having to submit the design work to ODNR,
Uh-huh.
and that work was in progress, but I think that statement needs to be reworded so that it more clearly represents what we talked about in terms of that the design work has to be submitted to the state, and where were we with that process.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. Yeah. I will speak with my vice chair, or I will make those changes. It doesn't matter, either or. But beyond that, are we okay with the meeting minutes?
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
All righty, sounds good. I just want to say I have a little bit of a summer cold, so I apologize if I sound a little nasally. So hearing... I thought you was going to say something. Hearing nothing else, we're going to move on. Next on our agenda, we have the Outdoor Fitness Health Project, and we are going to hear from our city administrator, Ms. Dukestein, anything that she has as far as updates.
Thank you. Just let me pull up the document. I had it up, and then I went to your minutes, so.
No problem.
what I can start kind of talking us through is that the timeline was shifted when we did not get the fitness center legislation approved. So our ribbon cutting is scheduled for late summer, early fall. I know that we have an invoice that is due to the NFC June the 29th. We were required by April the 28th to secure proof that we had funding, which we did do. We met that milestone. The new adjusted schedule, which I am happy to send out, he sent it to me. He and I talked through it in a meeting, and then per this meeting, he then sent it to me so I can send it to you all so you can follow along with me. But our next milestone is that we pay the $100,000. The $60,000 has already been paid by June 29th. We may or may not meet that. I'm hoping that we will. We already secured the funds through Hamilton County, which is our other grantor. However, they have required some paperwork back and forth, which every time they've reached out to me, I've reached back to them. I heard from the Hamilton County representative last Thursday. I sent a document to her, and she sent a request to me, and I sent the document back to her Thursday, and she replied, "Thank you." So we've had like 4 rounds of her needing further documentation. The last request was a list of equipment that we would be getting on the fitness center. So I believe that this is in preparation to release those dollars to us. We had to provide an invoice and all of the things to just make sure that they had already approved this project, but they needed layers of documentation before they give us the dollars. So in sum, that means that the project, the National Fitness Center project, was approved. We already have that in writing. However, in order to bring the dollars into the city, we will have to make sure that we quantify all of their requirements, which we have done. So we will pay and then be reimbursed either way. So there's no issue with approval or anything like that. So then after the 29th of June, when the $100,000 is due, hopefully we'll have the dollars before that. But if we don't, it's fine. We will reimburse it.
Madam Chair, I have a question to clarify. You said, I thought the 100,000 was coming from Hamilton County and that we already had it.
We were granted it. They didn't send it to us in dollars because we didn't know what project we were going to use it for.
Okay, so what do they need from us? What are they waiting on? You've talked about what UC is waiting on us for. What does
No,
Hamilton
that's-
County need from us?
No. My communication back and forth over this last month has been to Hamilton County.
Hamilton County, okay.
And what they needed. So initially I can tell you all the stuff that they needed, but I want to get back to this schedule.
So will you need from council, since it's 100,000, it's 25K over the 75, for us to approve that?
No. So the grant dollars will go straight to this project.
Mm-hmm.
The contract has already been approved in the piece of legislation
Mm-hmm.
that we went through.
Mm-hmm.
So no, so the dates and the timing, the initial the first milestone was phase 1, which was the adoption. Milestone 2 was authorization to proceed. That was the one that we were trying to get through, that I checked in the application that I wanted to do, but it was not a requirement to receive the dollars or this project. Milestone 3 was shipment and storage. We have already been shipped the items. Milestone 4 is planning, design, and art, and the timeline for that is summer of 2026. And then timeline for milestone 5 is concrete slab installation. And so that also is the summer of 2026, pending planning and weather, which is denoted in this timeline. And then late summer 2026 is the fitness court assembly, which is the payment in that $100,000, which is what we'll be paying for. We've already received the equipment and we have to pay for the rest of it.
I want to pause you real quick because I want to make sure I understand. So we have the equipment that's back there with Public Works.
Yes.
And we have to pay for that equipment. And that equipment is about the $100,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so we have that in grant dollars. It hasn't been released to us yet, but we have it.
Yes,
were
we
granted.
have a letter granted that we have secured the dollars.
Okay.
And then this project is approved.
So when are the funds needed? I know you said something about the 29th.
The invoice that they sent us from NFC is due 6/29.
Okay.
And he had said to me that if we have to make any adjustments, he knows that we're paying for it per a grant, that we could just call him and let him know. I had definitely stayed on top of it, although on vacation. So I'm hopeful, based on my connection with Hamilton County, that we will have a release this week.
Okay. So we won't have to come from the general fund or anything
I
like
do
that?
not believe so. But even if we did, we can take it and put it right back because, reimbursement grants happen all the time.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know Hamilton County distributes on a schedule through direct deposit, and we're expecting another disbursement, for a regular disbursement from them this week.
I do not know what the schedule is. I do know that they disperse on a schedule, but I don't know what the schedule is to speak to it. When I spoke to the representative from Hamilton County, she did not seem concerned that I told her that we had a June 29th deadline.
Okay, and I have one more question. So that is related to what Hamilton County needs from us, but I do think you did mention UC. So what is the status of the $60,000 from UC, and where are we in the process of receiving those dollars?
The UC health grant that we received, they paid directly to National Fitness Center.
So we don't. That's
We've
between
already
them.
received it and gotten it.
Okay.
And it's subtracted from our total. If you will remember, I said the total was right around 175, and then
Yes, I just was
160.
making sure that I understood the flow of the funding for the project. That's all I was trying
so
to
then
clarify.
If we have 175,000, 100 or 60,000 from the UC Health Grant has already been applied, bringing our total down to $15,000. And then once this $100,000 is applied, the remaining 15.
Okay.
And so just to keep going with this timeline, which I can distribute after this meeting. So I think I was on milestone 5, which is the concrete slab installation, which was projected to be installed by summer of 2026, the end of summer. And then the assembly was also late summer. And then the press launch and ribbon cutting is scheduled for the fall of 2026, pending planning and weather. And then deadline scheduled within 2 weeks. Post-launch event is milestone 7, attend official welcoming to campaign virtual call. And that's like to just talk about the entire process to make sure that we have satisfied, that we're happy, that everything flowed completely. So that's the timeline. We could beat the timeline depending on, but this was the reset when we were pushed the legislation out to the 3 readings.
Okay. So What is the confirmed location for the outdoor fitness center? Do we have that?
That's my question.
We do have a confirmed location, so I talked to the school district and we've agreed upon a location. I've sent that location to the National Fitness Campaign to just make sure that they're also okay with it. I spoke to him on the phone and got a verbal confirmation that they would be fine with that location, but I'm waiting for something in writing.
Okay. And where is that location?
It's in the same area. It's just a space where in between two concrete slabs that, it's in that same area. So the pool is here. There's another location and then there's another parcel ahead of that, and it'll be right there.
So it's not in Shaper Park.
No, that location is not in Shaper Park.
Okay. So it's still over by the pool area. So is it?
It's more close up by Shaper Park versus being on the end towards.
So closer to where that, like the little house where people would
Further
go
up.
Further up. So is it past the playground?
Adjacent.
I'm so confused.
Because
there was the pool, and then there was a space, and the pool was right next to where the parking lot for the elementary school is now. So if you proceed north, there was the old concession stand and the
Correct,
fence
the
that
little
separates
house.
that area from the playground area, and then the playground area essentially goes to the street. There was a triangular space to the side where the picnic tables are that is adjacent to Bising Avenue. And which area of that are we talking about? Because
I
at
think
first
the
it was
best
going to
way
be.
is for
So
me
I
just
have
to
the map
just-
pulled up.
I can circulate it to you all.
Yeah, and I remember last time I did ask that whatever documentation from the district confirming the location was to be sent. So that's
We're still waiting
my
for
next
that.
question. I don't know if we've received that.
You
You mentioned
haven't.
that there was a verbal conversation.
You have not received that image
Okay.
because I just got it, and when I was told that this update was wanted, and I can I can send it out to you.
That would be great. Thank you.
So I have the map pulled up and I see Bising here, right? And then there's the playground. Are you talking about this area here, or are you talking about over in this green space?
For me to be able to look at it, first of all, I can't see your phone from that far. I struggle to see long distance.
I can't see you that far.
So the best thing that I can do is forward you the location.
Thank you. Okay. So you did answer a couple other questions, whether all the fitness equipment has been delivered. So I know some of it has all of it been delivered?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, the next big thing that we all were discussing a couple of months ago, the current status of the concrete pad, and who is going to pour it, just confirming that we know who that's going to be and the date that that's going to begin.
We haven't started on a date because we're working through the steps, and that step is step 5, and we're at step 3.
Okay. But we do know who's going to pour the concrete.
So far, we are still thinking that our Public Works Department will do so.
Okay.
We want to make sure that it's within their wheelhouse and capacity. It would not be a problem to outsource that with the same cost. I've been checking around just to make sure
Okay.
for 2 reasons. One, because people express that they may, they're just like, are you sure Public Works can do it? And then also just Public Works' workload and being considerate of their workload.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you for looking into that. That's all I have for the outdoor fitness project. We'll keep an eye on that as time goes on. Next is number 4, which is our free little pantry boxes. So I don't know if Ms. Chichester or Ms. Clear wants to take it away from here.
Absolutely. So we met this month for We Thrive, and I am glad to report that we have a location and we discussed the signage for the little pantry boxes. And I think the stage that we are in now is that we are cleaning them up and getting them prepared for installation. And I remember Mr. Dieters was looking over, I didn't finish typing my note there. Hold on a second. Oh, we talked about who will be the responsibility for checking in, regular restocking. We're going to go back to the We Thrive. I think as of now, it's either myself or the community navigator. When I say myself, I mean the council representative, whoever holds the seat on the We Thrive. But there is a volunteer schedule that is going to go up with the We Thrive volunteers, which initially we all will sign up and volunteer to do. So basically, the volunteers, under the guidance of the We Thrive council member and the We Thrive community navigator. We're also looking at the supplies of installation and ongoing upkeep, which was minimal. And I think that is basically up. Oh, the signage, there won't be able to have any advertisement. I think we're just going to put our NCH logo and the guidelines to ensure the food is safe, and especially in hot weather and cold weather, and make sure things are healthy, and keep some of the data and research of the usage of it too as well.
Oh, that's a good question. I now have a question. The data, how are you guys going to collect data? What does that look like?
Well, basically stocking it, when you're keeping track of who all are donating, and then what goes out and what comes in and what is trashed. So just keeping logistics of that type of things.
Okay, cool. Just for the general audience, what food items will be accepted and what items will be prohibited, and how would you monitor that if the community is working together?
The signage is going to be on there, what's safe and what's able to be donated.
Okay.
So it'll be guidelines posted on each of the pantry boxes of what. So it's mainly non-perishable things that are not refrigerated, dry goods, things of that nature. So what'd you say, Miss? Shelf-stable things. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is next on, because we do have draft legislation. Is that
Yes.
something that we were going to
Yep.
Yeah,
go
it's all
over?
a part of
I don't want to steal your thunder if that's
No,
next
no,
on your
I-
punch list.
Yep, nope, that's exactly what's next. I
Yes.
wanted just a brief overview, and then Ms. Clear, if you want to go over the piece of legislation that's before us.
Sort of, yes, okay. I wasn't prepared to present. I just had a quick question. Typically, and from what I remember hearing, Gulf Manor is another community that recently implemented this, and this legislation is largely drawn from their legislation. And what they had found was that the community pretty well, it was self-sustaining,
Okay.
which is the idea. And, if somebody took a bag of rice one day because they needed it, the next day they come back with a box of, pasta mix or something, right? So they found that it was pretty self-sustaining. And, if there's any community people, I did talk to Mr. Carrington, who's our new navigator, and advised him, just, hey, you can reach out to Gwen at Gulf Manor. I can't think of her last name. We're on a first name basis when we meet. But just to kind of say, hey, what worked, what didn't work, because she did actually present to a recent learning collaborative with We Thrive about their community's experience with installing one of these, and it's generally very, very positive.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, we have the legislation at Gulf Manor, and it's already on the law director's desk to model it.
It's here.
Oh, well, yes, he made the revisions that we asked for at the last meeting to that. And yes, we talked about that at the last council meeting, the last We Thrive meeting. Even though it's self-sustainable, we still wanted some type of oversight so that we can collect the data and make sure that it is worth it to make sure we're utilizing it and see what the need is in our community, so that if there's a true enhanced need, and then potentially future-wise look at maybe having a pantry of our own. I know that the West College Hill substation, we call it the sub, has their pantry that's open on Tuesdays if anybody needs them, or they can call 211 if you need any listing of pantry dates and times, just for that key information out there. But if this is getting utilized like a weekly, daily basis, this is something we could possibly grow within our community.
I think we did request grant dollars for up to 4 units.
I was just about to ask, the legislation says a resolution establishing a policy for the placement of community little free pantry boxes. So how many boxes do we have?
I think currently right now we have 2, and we're
Okay.
in a process of obtaining 2 more. But I'm not sure because of the holiday weekend if we even obtained those yet. And plus, like Public Works with the storms and cleanup and things of that nature, they might have gotten a little.
And I can provide a little bit about that as well.
Absolutely.
If you know more, then thank you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Are you okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So the ones that we have, other communities, a lot of them were repurposed, like those magazine stands or the old newspaper stands, because they're already designed to be waterproof. One thing I did notice in our legislation, the draft that we have here, under Section B, it says shall be constructed of treated or finished wood. Or I think we need to have a provision in there to allow for a container that's already designed. Otherwise, we're going to have to build these from scratch from wood every time based on what this how this is written.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that we can capture that option. And what I think we were waiting on is this piece of legislation to be passed, because it treats this as a almost like an accessory structure, if you're thinking about it in terms of zoning. But it says it shall not obstruct vehicular traffic. It needs to be accessible from a sidewalk. It needs to be anchored to the ground. It's got all of these stipulations in here. In order for it to, I think, be ADA compliant, it can't be more than 48 inches off the ground. You know, there's certain things that are in the legislation that kind of govern the structure and placement of the units in order to maintain safety just of the unit itself. And aside from, the legislation is not designed to govern what goes in it. The legislation governs the structure itself of the unit. So speaking to the signage, I'm looking here, it says no signs or advertising attached or affixed to the structure apart from the required signage around liability, instructions, stocking guidelines, healthy eating, et cetera, et cetera. So that's captured in the legislation already as it's been drafted. And I know Ms. Duxteen was working with Mr. Dieters on getting this drafted. Yeah, I think there's just a couple of minor adjustments, but I do believe that there is a deadline to get the first pantry up. Is that correct?
Well, we have a deadline of August the 1st to spend all of the dollars. So I'm sorry, I just started answering.
Okay, you're good.
Madam Chair.
You're fine.
Okay. There is a deadline of August the 1st to spend all of the dollars, the $1,000 that we received, and we did apply for 4 pantries. So our goal date, or the We Thrive and City goal date, was July to get the first 2 up and going. So we were hoping that this piece of legislation would move to council floor to be voted on in the 1st of July. However, Ms. Clear is correct. The Section B, number 1, does refer to the structure constructed and being treated of wood. This was modeled after Golf Manor, and Golf Manor built theirs, whereas we obtained ours. So that portion of it, I think we should just talk through it. I don't think that Bill would be upset if we went ahead and modified that here in this committee. I can send the changes and the updates to him to just get his check of approval, and then we can send it over to council floor for the July 1st, the first meeting in July. there were a lot of updates that we talked about when we were in the We Thrive meeting. I took notes of those and sent those over to Bill. This wasn't one that we all caught, so just was missed. We were all, it was about 6 of us sitting at the table. We just missed this piece of it. So I
Happens
think we
all
should.
the time. I know. That's no fault of anyone.
Yeah,
You
I
could have
just-
10
if
people
we
look
could
at a
just
piece of paper and still miss a typo, so,
Yep.
yeah.
So
I
do
think
you?
if we could just talk about the safety of the structure now and just come up with some language that I can send through Bill so that this committee could feel comfortable. If we had something like this language, he can do the legal check. We can send it over to council floor because it does have an August 1st deadline. So if you think about the fact that we only meet with city council in July, we don't have time to get it done by August 1st if we don't get it approved.
We can
by
always
July.
suspend readings.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm saying it would have
Be
to
only
be
one
on
meeting.
council floor for the July meeting, even in order to suspend readings.
Yes.
Agreed that we need to suspend readings, but agreed that we need to get this document over to council floor by July. So
Correct.
we'd have to make
If
those
we just
changes.
add a clause or something that just says a suitable container intended for outdoor use, repurposed. I'm not sure how to put that. I would need more time to think that through.
So
And
what
I
I
don't know if
would-
we need to do that right now this minute, do we? Or,
I was going to ask Ms. Clear if we could give it about a couple of days, send over proposed language, and then
Well, I
we can
think
get it
it's,
back.
I think,
I think
mean,
it's at the 90% draft
I
right
think it's at
now.
the 90% draft, and if we kept the language that is here, and it says metal shall be kept neatly painted and/or a suitable structure. There was some other phrase that you use, a suitable, what did you?
Waterproof.
Intended for outdoor use.
Yes, and that's what you said, a suitable.
Shall be constructed of finished or
structure.
treated wood or a suitable
Structure intended for
repurposed
out.
container intended for outdoor use or something like that.
A suitable
And I hope the recording
structure.
gods can get all of that because I don't know if I can say that again.
Understood. So I'm just going to ask the
Chair.
committee, with the changes that we are proposing, do you guys feel comfortable sending this to council floor with those changes that are pending?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Can I read it just to make sure that everyone is comfortable and
Chair.
that I've
Yeah,
captured
oh, she's
everything?
been
Okay, hold on, pause. Yes, Madam Mayor, sorry.
I have a couple questions. Have we determined the locations?
Yes.
What are they? And I only ask that because section 2 says shall be accessible from a public sidewalk.
Yes, there are 2 sites. Out front here, which would be considered.
Do you
considered a
consider
public-
this a public sidewalk?
It won't be at here, it'll be out there.
Yes.
Towards the sign, the street. It has to be in a public sidewalk.
And then, oh God, what was the Goodman and, oh,
Is
crap.
that city property? I think that I read somewhere in here that it has to be on city property.
It's city property.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Goodman.
a corner of a street, right?
The whereabouts, I don't remember the 2 locations that you guys talked about in the meeting, but I
think this said
remember.
it has to be on city property, that's why I said
I
that.
wrote it
No,
down.
no,
Give me a
I'm
second.
aware. I'm saying when Ms. Chichester and AA Ron identified the 2 locations, the locations, I don't remember them specifically, but AA Ron did the checks and balance before presenting them to Ms. Chichester that they were city property.
Okay, and
I don't know that the legislation specifies that it has to be city property because if
Yes.
somebody else,
Private property.
it just has to be publicly accessible.
let me read what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
So if a private organization would like to put one out front, they would just
Says
have to comply with these.
So whereas the city of
requirements.
North College Hill City is desirous of establishing little free pantry boxes on city property to address health and
Oh.
wellness, promote community engagement, and add to the vibrancy of the city. That was
Then
my
it
first
continues to
question.
section 1, the definition talks about city property again.
Where in section 1?
Definition.
Definition.
Oh, gotcha, okay. Do we want to constrain this to city property?
So, I don't know, because this leads to my next
Because there's
one.
little free libraries that are like outside of churches and
They own
schools.
that, but they run that
Yeah.
little, and it's not there anymore, I don't think. I didn't see it the other week.
So
but I
my
wanted to
concern is if we're putting a box around this, that these can't legally be installed unless they're on city property. That's the way this reads.
Madam Chair, I guess you guys can put it wherever you want, but this says city property. To your point, you can change it. But would you want to put your property on someone else's property? And then you have to get permission to go on their property unless you establish that in the beginning, right? So that was the first one, however you so choose to do it. The other one is B, number 6. The blank of the city of North College Hill shall be responsible for monitoring, maintaining the little free pantries within the city. Did we say who that blank is? I feel like I missed it.
Madam
I
Chair.
heard it, but then
Ms. Dukestein.
So when we talk to We Thrive, we actually do have to put them on city property so that this legislation confirms the quantification of the
I just
grant.
wanted to clarify if that's the box that's required, or was that just something we inherited when we copied this over from Gulf Manor?
Fair. It
Okay.
is not something we just inherited when we copied
Okay.
over to, from Gulf Manor. Fair question. And then the
Madam
number
Chair.
6, were you going to answer number 6?
No, go ahead.
Okay, number 6 was the We Thrive community. They're going to look after the boxes, which is why they want to do them staggered, because they didn't want to take on more. They want to get just the checking up on them and whatever is required and how they're going to take flight in North College Hill before adding the others, so that we can get better at it and know exactly what it is that we're getting into with the second and fourth boxes. So I talked to Ms. Brunner about that, and so I will tell you that we as a city, one of the boxes being out here, we will definitely make sure that we check it. And then we were teaming up with Ms. Brunner, and the We Thrive are going to focus on that one. So we have 2 identified groups that fall under the We Thrive community to be able to check the boxes. We'll check in with the We Thrive because we come to the meetings, and then as they know more to how to support the boxes here in North College Hill, we will expand to box 3 and 4.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Chichester.
I pulled up my email. Now I have the exact location of the second box. Is the corner of Simpson and Goodman Avenue. So around that space area, near, not like right on the corner, but in that vicinity. It's
Simpson
a
and
sidewalk,
Goodman.
and there's a park near there as well. So we figured it'll get a lot of foot traffic coming
So it's
into.
near Dumley Park then, on the corner by Dumley Park? Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Simpson and Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I went the other
I see
way.
it.
You went the other way towards the board. Yep, the other way.
By the first alley.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
do you mind if I read section B, number 1, to just ensure that we are on the same page of how
Absolutely.
it
Yes,
should read?
please.
Thank you.
It says, shall be constructed or treated finished wood, all metal parts and supports for such structures that are not galvanized or rust. I'm sorry, I wrote
That's a
through
typo.
mine. That's a typo, yes.
Yep.
And then I scratched it off because I thought we were going to not use it, so I'm trying to read through the lines. Resistant metal shall be kept neatly painted and or suitable structure intended for outdoor usage. And I can tell you that those structures that we have secured, the 2 of them, have been approved by We Thrive and Hamilton County. They were both at the meeting and said that those structures were fine.
All right, great. Madam Mayor, did that answer all your questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So with those changes and those thoughts in mind, I feel that the committee is okay to have this go to council floor. I believe our next council meeting is July 6th, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so moving along, we have old business. I did receive an email from a citizen asking if we can get an additional update on Veterans Park. In addition to Veterans Park, I want to say thank you to whomever went out and worked on that sign, pulled all the weeds and planted new flowers. It looks really, really nice. So my question, so number one, a citizen asked, what is the update? And number two, I wanted to ask two questions. A, at night, that flag, it's not taken down or anything. And I feel that we should have a light that shines on our flag, as I believe, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some rules for when we have our flags on the flagpoles and things of that nature. And I believe it should have a light on it at night. So A, can we get that? And B, the Veterans Park sign is hard to read, is very faded, it's made of wood. If we could work on either getting a new one or having a volunteer come and repaint it, just so that it's Veterans Park, right? You know, we want to make sure it looks the best out of respect to all of our vets.
So thank you. I intended to provide an update during old business. Are you skipping to that, or are you, okay?
Yep, we're at
Thank you.
old business
So
now.
there is a light there. It's broken. We need to have somebody replace it, so we're looking into that to just get the most efficient light to go there. The flag is also ripped, so we intend to replace the flag. It was the city who cleaned out that flower bed and put flowers there and mulched that area to just get it cleaned up and restored. The update on the grant is that we talked about drawings in the document that was left for us about the Veterans Park grant. There were it was said in there that JMA had some drawings for us. I have spoke with Jennifer Vatter, and we have a meeting on the 24th of this month to discuss that. She was not able to come across the drawings, so we'll probably have to redo those for the ramp. And then we are working on the other sensory items and equipment to continue fulfilling the grant dollars in the park. I do not yet have a timeline because I need to discuss and speak with JMA before we go any further, and we can determine a timeline from there.
Okay, great. And yes, that light has been broken for the flagpole, at least, for many years. Could we work on that in the next, before 4th of July to get a
We
new light?
plan to get it done in the next, yes, actually, we're just working. If you look around the city, there are lots of improvements. One thing that I can say is I know that we want quick, but in order to do these islands, and I'll just give you all of the remediations as it relates to the parks, we needed to really deep root and till the ground up, because we were getting the weeds back over and over and over again. And we don't want to constantly every year trim them back. We want them to be sustained and, being able to treat them. So we tilled the area, dug up and pulled it up the right way so that we can see less and less through the years, and it really becomes a maintenance, not a redo. We had a full-fledged redo, so it's taken a bit to kind of get the focus and making sure that they are done correctly. I want it to be, I think the desire is beautification and, preparing for the sunflowers and all of the other things that are coming with this park. I think Veterans Park has an opportunity to be one of our most beautiful, valued parks once we get all of this. So it's all in time. No one's being slothful at getting those things remediated. I personally did not notice that the light was out until I went out there to direct the contractor that was doing the work for the garden plant, the flower garden around the sign. And then you asked me about the sign, but I didn't get a chance to comment on it. So we learned that Sign Effects, which is our vendor that we use for updating our signs, we actually did order new signage. We also found the signs that Ms. Clear had ordered. It does not fit in that space. So we are trying to make sure.
I just wanted to, if I could,
great.
we did that knowing that all of that was going to be torn out and redone. So the assumption was that all of that near the stairwell where the garden exists right now, and where those big awful shrubs used to be, that all of that was going to be part of that ramp process and the new sensory garden process. So the assumption was is that the old signposts would be gone and replaced. So that's the signs are all the same size, but they're not necessarily going to, fit, what was there, because I was anticipating that all of that would be redone as
Fair.
part of that process.
Okay.
So we don't have the designs that were under what you and JMA worked on thus far. She's going to give me an update on those potential designs. We emailed back. I said that in your notes that there were some.
I said that we had started meeting about the design. I don't know that I said that the designs were finished.
Okay.
That was what we were waiting on. And I met with them maybe 3 weeks before my last day of work to say, and I gave her the grant. I think I gave her the grant documents. But in terms of actual schematics and design, true engineering designs, that part had not been completed when I left. So if they can't find them, it's probably because I don't exist yet.
Okay.
So,
She didn't even remember the project.
right.
So
It was over a year ago, so I don't doubt that she doesn't remember. And it was cold, and we were out there with one other. I don't even know if it might have been John that I met with. I can't remember, but it was one person from JMA and one of their engineers, and we kind of looked at the area and scoped it out. But I don't know that the design work was ever finished, the initial design work.
So we're scheduled to meet on this Wednesday to start
Perfect.
discussing design and so that we can best utilize those dollars. And in that process, we will be able to know more about the sign.
Okay. Great. Along those same lines, so still in old business, Pies Park is now open, and that is exciting. The grass is cut. It looks really good over there. Did we ever hear back from Clover Nook about that mischievous loan lock?
We did not, but I can confirm that some of the feedback was that it was Mr. Wilson's lock. It is not Mr. Wilson's lock.
Okay. So that's even more concerning that we don't know who it belongs to.
Is
Yes,
it
but
gone?
we don't
Nope.
own the park, and that is not our gate. We have to wait until we hear from Center for the Blind. I sent an email to the CEO, and that is the person that I reworked the contract with. As soon as I hear back, I will know what direction we need to go in as it relates to the lock.
Okay. And so I know for Juneteenth there was an event, so we have began to rent that out. And is that money that is coming towards the city? So is that revenue for recreation?
So we did not rent the park out. The user, I did go down and talk to the people that use the park and let them know what the process was to being able to rent the park for said event. In our ordinances, it's over 20 people, which that event did host over 20 people. And so I made the right connections, passed my card on, and told them the right way to be able to rent the park. We did not know that that event was going to occur there.
Oh, okay. He had told me that he sold tickets. So I was like, oh man, this is generating revenue. I'm sad to hear that it didn't. So
I didn't know anything about the event to approve or disapprove. We talked about, what those city requirements are, and he was very thankful. He was also apologetic and did not realize that he needed to connect with city partners. So
okay. So how do we stop that from happening going forward? How do we know if people are just going to randomly
There's
pop up?
A lot of other parks will have like a small sign that says park rental information, call this number, or scan this code or something.
I don't think we have that.
But I don't think it occurred to us until this moment to
Yeah.
put something
Yeah,
like that
some-
out there. So
I think some part.
it's very, very rare if somebody.
I've not had that in the history that I've been here. And,
The only
I've
one
been-
that was consistently running the park that I knew of Pies Park was like usually it's like, there was a soccer team a couple years ago that
Soccer
used
team,
it.
I know
Yes.
one other
But they did
family.
contact the city and asked, and they gave us a certificate of insurance and everything that they were supposed to do, in order to be able to use the space. The other one is Veterans Park, because she does her Easter egg hunt every year. And she also follows the process and provides all that information for us.
She's no longer a resident, if it's the same one I'm thinking. So, yeah,
It
she
probably
did.
is, and it's a free to the public events are treated differently than, other types of things, so, but yeah, I don't think it occurred to us to put anything up there that says park rental information or
I
whatever.
think we should, now that we know,
If it's the
hindsight's
same one,
2020.
I don't want to say.
Particularly that location, because it
Totally.
just behooves itself to larger gatherings,
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to say that it's the same person you were referring to. So the one that I am referring to is no longer a resident.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't remember her
She did
name.
rent the park for an Easter egg hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she did it for several years, so.
Moving along on old business, speaking of people living here and not living here, I did have a question for Madam Mayor. Our rec commission, that group, have they met? Are all of the positions filled?
They're all filled with the exception of one. And if they did meet, I don't go. So I can check with them to see if they've met. They just haven't
Perfect.
returned a report or obviously haven't gotten in touch with you. I know one of the residents is no longer here, who was on the committee. And I know Dr. Blaylock was going to utilize the same person, so I gave the information, and then if they've met, they have not told me, but I'll check to see.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
there is one update that I missed as it relates to the outdoor fitness center that I wanted to circle back to. I did locate where Blaylock has sent me the location, and he and I had talked about drawing up and speaking with Bill Dieters. He was out of town, and when I think he's still out of town. Is he still out of town there?
I haven't spoken with them.
Okay. Well, we talked that he was out of town, and when he got back, we were going to speak with Mr. Dieters in order to draw up a legal contract that talks about the purpose of that land plot, and it actually is an extension of Shaper Park.
Okay. I was told by several residents, I think it was 4 people, that they donate money. So we just want to make sure that we are mindful, we speak with the family to make sure that that's okay, just out of respect and I don't know how to get into contact with them, but I will speak with the residents who have concerns about that and see how we can get connected.
I'm sorry, so donate money. We don't receive any donations for that park.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we haven't.
We haven't.
can't speak
Not
to
since the
what
time
happened
I've
in the
been here.
past.
Not that I know of. There was one donation a long time ago, but that was when we were starting to do the Adopt-A-Park, which didn't transpire. I did speak with Mrs. Shaper about that. So
Haven't received donations, and I don't know who they're donating to.
they
If
might
you
be
could find
donating
out.
to it.
Yeah, I will.
I would
will.
even say,
I don't remember processing any donations for that.
and I would even say, an extension of that is we are also nearing the end of our agreement with the school. We have a couple more years where we are even honoring that. Now, we, as a city, will work towards continuing something that's going to be good for the school and us. However, we are taking care of it, trash and all.
Sounds good. Moving on to new business, because I have 5 minutes left before the next meeting. I'm sure many of us are aware that there was an incident that occurred early this morning, and I have been in communication with Pastor Hudson, and he is doing a peace walk, walking together, standing together, choosing peace. It is this Sunday, June 28th at 4 p.m. in North College Hill. We're going to gather at the Greater Faith parking lot to begin the walk. So any and everyone is welcome to come and join, and just a meeting of the mind. So what it says here is, in the walk, so much, there's a lot of drama, a lot of violence, and he just wants to come together for our youth and family and for our futures. It says, let's lift our voices, cover our streets, and stand in faith and for healing, unity, and change. Together we can build a stronger, safer community. So prayer, unity, and hope is how he would like to move forward with his church. So I just wanted to say that publicly. There will be flyers here at the Senior Center and throughout the city, as well as on our social media platforms. If there are any questions, let me know. And I can connect everybody with Pastor Hudson. Yes, ma'am.
Before you adjourn, we skipped number 5.
We did skip number 5.
Madam Chair, I also had a new question and new business, please.
You said 4 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're going to have to table number
Yes.
5.
Yes, that's why I skipped it.
It's not as high a
offense.
priority of whatever it is that,
Ms. Dukestein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mine
so
isn't super high. I was just going to ask about the status of the baskets, and what and how the frequency is. I don't think that we've done them yet this year.
nope.
And we're in June, and I do have the list is growing, and I was kind of waiting on your updates to let me know how you want to do them or whatever, how the city can support that.
Absolutely. So in the last council meeting, we appropriated funds and a line was going to be created so that we can get the money out of that. And so I was going to ask in Budget and Finance if that was created, and then myself and Vice Chair, we were going to move forward and get the list from you and start distributing. So this is going to be immediate around 4th of July-ish weekend or the week after.
And then the other question I had is the 4th of July celebration that this committee was working on.
Correct.
Can
It
you
never moved forward, and since we had Juneteenth and we had Memorial Day, we decided to table it.
Okay.
Is there any other questions or any other new business? It is 6:57, and I am going to adjourn our meeting for today. Thank you.
Mr. ICRC, are you good? Thank you. It is 7 o'clock, and it is time to begin wow, I really messed everything up on this. It's Monday, June 22nd. I have June 21st on the agenda. And I also have a line item number 4 I would like to remove. I neglected to drop that from last month, so please scratch out line item 4. Other than that, does anyone have any questions about tonight's agenda? None noted, so we'll accept tonight's agenda. I did not get the minutes sent out in the email, so I will send them out when I send out the June minutes. All right, so we are now on to number 3, which is the monthly finance reports from Ms. Stevens-Knott. Excuse me, Mrs. Stevens-Knott. I'm sorry, I always say that incorrectly. I apologize.
Luckily, he claims me either way. Well, you have all the details, and just for the record, because we had spoken last month about documents that you would want to be able to possibly upload, I would lean towards the lovely pretty ones, the first 6 pages, as being documents to upload, high level, not too much detail, just for your notes. And my desire is to, or my goal is monthly to provide that, so you have a high level synopsis.
So just so I am clear, I want to make sure that we're both saying the same thing. When you say the first 6, do you mean ending at the outstanding check register?
No, ending at finance manner attestation. So it starts with the, yeah.
Okay.
So everything in the middle of there.
All the pretty ones.
Yep, all the
Got
pretty
it.
ones.
Perfect, thank you.
I feel like it answers the questions that we often get.
Are there any highlights that you would like to point out to us? I did notice that the review of the aged outstanding checks.
And I did make some notes about those. I am still working to find one of the vendors. So the Kelly Entertainment is actually a vendor from last year's fall festival. And so I'm trying to reach him because he did do the work. So to find out if did he lose the check, or if I could just get in contact with him so we can get him paid. And then the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts has been converted. We actually received that check back from the Hamilton County because apparently they don't accept checks from anybody. So it needed to be converted into a money order in order to satisfy that issue. And then the Alta Fiber, Verizon, and Earths, those have all been reissued. And so because of the date of them, I had to learn how to void them in our system. So they have properly been voided out of the system and reissued.
Did any members of the committee have any questions on, I'm going to call them the pretty sheets, on the pretty sheets at the front and the top of the report?
Good evening. Yes, Madam Chair. I have a question regarding the EFT for the City of Cincinnati, 52368. Can you share what that's for?
Is this an incoming or outgoing?
It's incoming funds that the city received.
Oh, from the City of Cincinnati?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the dollars that, because the Greater Cincinnati Water Works processes our RUMKey payments.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
And is that a quarterly,
That's monthly.
monthly? Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms.
An
Curitan.
additional question regarding the commercial card auto pay.
That's our credit card. Our credit card payment.
Yeah, which department?
All of us.
Okay. Can you confirm which departments have credit cards besides police?
Every department.
Every department. So how do you choose how much comes from each department for this this 9656 payment?
Every credit card is reconciled to the holder of said card.
Okay. Okay.
So
Just as a side note, I believe we even have a credit card policy.
we do.
Yeah, sure.
Are there any other questions about the pretty part? I'll take that as a no. All right, so I have some questions when we get to, where the heck is it? So when we get to the month-to-date, year-to-date, current expense reports,
Okay.
so in my mind, what I think this is, and you tell me how wrong I am, how's that? So what I think this is you're telling us that basically this is the budget, and it's telling us what we have spent month-to-date, what we spent year-to-date. Unexpended, is that safe to assume that that's the difference between what we've budgeted and what's left?
So unexpended is what's left and not encumbered versus encumbered and unencumbered. So you can have unexpensed, but then of those, there might be dollars that are encumbered going forward, but they haven't been quote unquote used yet. What's a good line to show that? Because it's all about because it wouldn't show in payroll. It'd never show in payroll. Oh, there's a good one. So if we go down to 101-523-804, we see that the
Hold on,
budget
slow down, let me get there.
is criminal investigation equipment because it was the quickest one I could see.
Okay.
So if you look at the revenue, so it was budgeted for that line item of $7,500. We spent $100 in this previous month. Year to date, we've spent $384. So what's left of that line item is $7,115. However, of that, $411 is encumbered, which means there is a purchase order for that amount sitting against that line item.
Okay, so, all right.
Which technically reduces the amount still allowed to be spent for that year to that 6,700.
Got it. So along with that same scenario, when I see the unencumbered, the 6,703, that could, and this is just, don't anyone get excited. This is just a scenario. So because that 6,700 is unencumbered, if there were a need to move that money to a different line item, it could be. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is the things that I do. So at the end of June, when we come back in the beginning of July. Yeah, for July's meeting, we will look and see where we are, and there might be some rearranging at that time. And it's based on, we'll have conversations with department heads and say, hey, you're overspent on this line item, you're underspent on this line item. What's your anticipation for the remainder of the year? And so the hope, the desire is always to simply be able to move dollars around inside of the budget. We should not be in the habit of having to come back to appropriate additional dollars. So that's always the hope.
Thank you for explaining that. Does any of the committee have any other questions?
I do. Madam Chair, I wanted to ask Mrs. Stevens-Knott, good evening. Going back to the bank statement, a couple of questions. One, it appears as if there have been some transfers between accounts. The first one that I'm noticing is on May 6th for 28,295.01. And I'm assuming that's a transfer. And I'm looking at page 2 of the bank statement at the top. The date is May 6th. There was a transfer between accounts 28,295.01. Does that indicate that funds were transferred from this account? Or does this indicate funds were transferred from this account? And either way, where was it transferred from or where was it transferred to?
What's the amount?
28,295.01. There are a couple, but that's
Okay,
the
so
first.
ZBA is the transfers for our payroll.
So are we transferring this money to Paycor or?
No, so payroll cannot be when you process payroll as any entity, all of your payroll must be in a separate account. You cannot process payroll out of your general fund. So there has to be a unique designated payroll account. We have a payroll bank account that is a sweep account. So what happens is when we process payroll, those requests go to the payroll account, i.e. the direct deposit upload happens, the tax payments happen, everything associated with payroll happens over in the payroll account. The payroll account says, hey, general fund, I need $125,000, and give it to me. ZBA represents that transfer for each individual need for payroll.
So what's their frequency? And thank you for answering that because I see it on May 6th for 28,000-ish, May 7th for 2,100-ish, May 13th for 123,000-ish. So I'm curious to know, what is their frequency? Is it just grab as need?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's based on payments. So when payroll is ran, when taxes are paid, when child support is paid, union dues, all of these things that are health insurance, life insurance. As payroll needs happen, payroll says, hey, general fund, I need the money, and it sweeps over.
Thank you. And then another question, I see that we are paying the IRS. I see a transaction on May the 6th with around 3,000-ish, and then also May 29th for 37,000. What are those for?
So the IRS payments that are around pay dates is our FICA and our Medicare match. So those will always happen around payroll.
Okay.
The 37,000 that you see is me sending back to the Internal Revenue Service our debt from last year, which last year's, remember when we had to pay for the 1099s that did not get filed? We paid the Internal Revenue Service like we were supposed to. The Internal Revenue Service sent us our check back, and then they realized that they shouldn't have sent us our check back and gave us a bill.
Okay.
Hopefully there are no interest or penalties on it.
I actually had to fight for 60 days to get the interest and penalties removed but I had documentation of having paid on time and in full. So, yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Yes, thank you. And then, Madam Chair.
I just have one quick question while we're still on payroll. So council gets paid monthly, but do the rest of the employees get paid weekly?
Every 2 weeks.
So why were there 4 runs in May?
3. There should be 3 in May. Not 4. There's 3. There were 3 pays in May. We get 26 pay periods a year. Therefore, there are 2 months of the year where there are 3 pays.
Pretty page 5 says 4.
Well, that's just a typo.
Actually, it
It's
says
3.
5.
Well, no, because it's also going to count. It counts yours as a separate. So council, that's 4. And then we also had a retro payroll for the police. That's 5.
Got it.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Curtin.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. And then the next question I have for you is on the middle part of page 2. It looks like we're paying United Healthcare for a claim. That's the description.
It says, well, before we go there, it says deposits and credits in the middle.
It
So
does.
we're not paying.
Yeah, I understand that.
You said we're paying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying that. We received
Mm-hmm.
this payment for 3/30, but I'm noticing it's a frequency. I'm noticing we received it on 5/4, and then we received it 5/6.
EMS runs.
So are we saying that we're charging? Help me understand so I don't assume.
EMS, we charge people for our ambulance. That's not a free service. And so our EMS department files medical claims to be paid, and insurance companies pay us.
Gotcha. Okay.
And just a side note, I believe we even have a vendor that does that, right? It's not like our fire department does that.
Yes, so Medi-Cal does the filing, but insurance companies choose who they will pay. So some of our insurance companies, Medicare, TRICARE, United Healthcare, Medicaid, there's a Palmetto, GBA. These are mainly Medicaid providers. They pay us directly. Other insurance companies pay Medi-Count directly, and then Medi-Count gives us a deposit at the end of the month minus a fee, a processing fee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just have one additional question. Mrs. Stevens, not besides the account, the ZBA account that the city uses for payroll, and besides this general fund account, are there any other public hybrid accounts that the city has?
Oh, I mean, we have a really savings account, but that sometimes you'll see a bank statement for that, and other times you will not, because it is simply an account just holding cash. So it's interest bearing, so they don't they don't provide a statement on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's Mayor's Court, but that's separate.
So just those 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Mrs. Curtin, do you have any other questions?
Not at this time. I'll open it for the other committee members if they have anything.
Ms. Chichester?
I'm good on finance and accounting, so I'm good.
Thanks. Ms. Gaston?
Just wanted to say that Ms. Stevens, she Mrs. explains things very, very, very eloquently, and I think this looks great. I don't have any questions.
All right, then we will move on to our next agenda item, which is the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks billing. So I know we talked extensively about this at our last meeting, and there was a question as to whether or not it was going to be caught up in the June timeframe or July timeframe. So I just wanted to kind of leave this on here so we could go back and check. I got my bill and I didn't even look at it closely, so I don't know that answer personally. So Ms. Dukestein, do you have that answer?
Yes, we distributed the flyer online in the newsletter and put a statement out, and also in my statement that it will be up to date and back to regular balances for July 1. I'm sorry, not balances, costs for the residents.
So to say that in different words to make sure I understand, our July bill, whatever that amount is, $5.59, that should be our going rate for the rest of the year.
Yes, confirmed.
Thank you. All right, does anyone else on committee have any questions about the waterworks bill?
No.
Perfect. All right, Ms. Dukestein, believe we were supposed to get updates about a salary ordinance, and I didn't see that. Do we have that?
No, we were pushing it over to council floor. Remember, we talked about in an executive session, we can't talk about salary ordinance in budget and finance. So we were sending those updates per the discussion in executive session over to council floor for the month of July. I gave you verbally what the changes were. We cannot talk about those in budget and finance per the changes in council rules that council designated. And so those two changes that we discussed in executive session were going to go on the updated salary ordinance and pushed over to council floor.
Madam Chair.
So I just want to say, I'm not so sure that as a definitive answer, it cannot be discussed in committee, because I think my opinion is that can. It's the discussion about if they should change, like if there is a.
That's fair, but when I ask about it being discussed outside of that, prior to, I think you and I discussed it in May, you said it had to go to the executive session, so I'm just yielding to your words.
Right, but then I thought that it was going to come back here and we would produce it because we talk about legislation in a committee and then approve it in the committee to go to council floor. So maybe we just didn't communicate well together, and you and I will work on that process and we'll make sure we're better next time.
Okay.
Fair?
Fair.
All right. Mrs. Curitan?
Sure, I was just going to simply say from our May 26th meeting, there was a statement that was made that there was a redaction in the offer that was given for a public works director. That was the extent of our conversation, and you were to come back to this meeting, to this committee, and share those details with us. That was in May. And I don't believe in any of our council meetings between May and now, we've discussed it. So per our committee's meeting on May 26th, that was our last discussion. If there's something that happened between there that the committee was not privy to, that's fine, but, yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. 16.
Ms. Kirton, I don't think you were here for the June meeting. I cannot remember, but I know that you did admit. I'm sorry, the June 1st meeting. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, because that was discussed in an executive session that was put on our last meeting. I gave an update about the redaction and also how we were moving forward.
Disagree, but okay.
All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I ask, okay, so going forward, what do we need to get it here and there or here? What from executive session to committee?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. 16.
So how that typically looks, what we've done in the past is with the salary ordinance specifically, we've talked about an executive session and then we've moved it to council floor based on the agreeal or disagreement of council in those executive sessions because of the sensitive nature of the information on the salary ordinance. We previously held executive sessions in Budget and Finance Committee. When that factor changed, those conversations moved to council meetings. And so based on it being in discussion in the council meeting, my assumption was that we then move it over. I even asked in that executive session, with these two changes, are we safe to move it to council floor? And the answer that I believed I received was yes. So that was my intention. I said I was going to get the changes and updates approved through Mr. Dieters, and then I would send it over to council floor for the month of July.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the 2026 budget. Do we have, or is there some magic number somewhere in this that I need to see that would tell me what our anticipated total amount of our end of the year balance would be. And I know that's like a crystal ball kind of question. I realize that. But if you had any type of, if there's anything in here that kind of indicates anything, I'm all ears.
So the best, no, we're going to start at the high level. No. Because of that unexpended and unencumbered column. That is what changes the world. So unexpended, if it says unexpended, then you can look at that end number and be like, that's where we're going to be at the end of the year. But that would suggest that each budget line item doesn't move from where it's at.
Which isn't going to happen.
That is correct. So, but what you will have at the July meeting is, this is what we think is going to look like going into the end of the year. Because that's the best we could do. Budget is a hope and a prayer, unless we get an amazing benefactor that, just writes us a check for $10 million.
When I hit the lottery.
Okay, when I hit the lottery, I'm not writing North College Hill a $10 million check, but
Yeah.
I will give. But I mean, so we'll take a look at the middle of the year. The reason that is a good time to do it, number one, we will have gotten through all of our contract negotiations. Any retro pays and things of that nature will have already taken place. We're halfway through as it relates to our payroll. Most of the big expenses that have been anticipated have happened, and it gives us an opportunity to just kind of reset for going towards the end of the year.
So you just do like a trend analysis kind of thing, and
Have conversations. We thought we were going to spend $150,000 on this, and we didn't. We had not planned on spending $50,000 on this, so we did. So it's at that time we sit down with each department head, look at their budgets individually, and let's reassess of what we're going to do going to the end of the year. Are we going to continue on this trend, or are we going to cut back? I am always going to lean towards cutting back, just because, as I stated in some private conversations, just to bring back to our memory, our budget, we did not have a balanced budget for 2026. We were $2 million over, so that meant we were $2 million into our reserves. And so the desire is not to continue in that trend. So we've got to tighten our belt or find some other revenue sources.
Absolutely.
so I'm going to ask the question. How much of that do you want to control, or how much do you want council to be the bad guys?
We will bring towards you what needs you. Our job is to bring the numbers towards you, and say, this is, I like to call it, this is not caring, this is frugal, and we have to find someplace in the middle. That's just the best way to do it, but we all have to carry the weight of those decisions. And so no one gets to not tighten their belt. We all have to tighten our belt, whatever that looks like.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Gaston.
when do you believe, will we in July begin to look at our 2027 budget and kind of doing a really good deep dive into that?
So we'll start in July, because that is when we get our anticipated revenue certificate from the county.
Okay.
So that's always our base. I would be highly surprised if it is more. For the past 3 years, we have actually, our resources from the county have gone down. So that's our base. If we start there, we'll take a look at, how we've landed in revenue for the first half of this year to see, does that look like it'll repeat itself in 2027 or not? We'll look at, because I saw in your thing, we'll look at, what does the grant situation look like? Is it grants for new projects, or are there grants out there for sustainability? Because those are two different things. And so we'll look and see if that's there. And then we'll also start talking about where can we capture revenue other places. Me and Ms. Duxine have been talking about a few spaces. It will require some movement, but we've got to capture revenue at every space that's available. I think we dodged a bullet for 2027 in that they did not get enough signatures around the property tax. So we don't have to worry about that for 2027, but I anticipate that it's coming back around for 2028.
Madam Chair.
And to be clear, when you said the anticipated revenue from the county, that is property taxes, right?
It's property, yeah, it's primarily property taxes, net profit tax. It's it's the county and the state. So they call it the local LGF funds, local government funds from the state, local government funds from the county.
Yes,
it's-
Mrs. Curie.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because it's also like if you have a levy that has built, let's say, like for instance, our levy dollars are part of the estimated revenue too. So, and that sometimes ours isn't, but sometimes municipalities, it comes from their sales tax. It would be distributed in that space. So it's whatever we've got attached to our residents or sales in our community.
We still get a gasoline tax, too, don't
We
we?
do.
Okay.
We still get a gasoline tax. We still get a liquor license tax. We get anything that is sold that is connected to our city. We get a portion of it that goes through the state.
Mrs. Cureton.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Mrs. Stevens, thank you for letting us know that we're $2 million over budget. We're forecasting to be $2 million over budget this year. That is very startling for a number of reasons. The first question I want to ask you is, what new revenue capturing space have we entered in 2026?
I think one of we have two spaces. I think number one would have to be just the work that AA Ron is doing around abatements and rental registrations and just really digging deep to find who's not using critical listening skills when he's talking to our residents and they kind of slip and let us know. So I think that's a huge thing. The toll lot's not making a lot of money, but it's making more money. So they're doing more. New revenue spaces for me at this, you got to remember I'm only a year in. So a lot of this stuff kind of just looks like what last year looked like. So I don't know that I have insight there. I just know what we're thinking about going forward.
Thank you. And I also want to inquire on what percentage of this new revenue space, I didn't hear you mention Rita, and I didn't hear you mention rental registrations. Those are two spaces in which we've really kind of, I want to say, neglected. We really didn't capture those funds as we should, 100%. So how much of this new space are we suggesting that it will impact 2026 and then forecasting for 2027? The reason why I'm asking these questions is because I'm always looking at ways the city can generate revenue, whether it's 1,000, whether it's 10,000, whether it's whatever that dollar amount is, any aspect, even when it comes to when Mrs. Gaston was talking about the parks, that person was able to use the parks, didn't have permission, that could have generated revenue. So what additional space?
So I failed to mention Rita because I actually just forgot about them, even though they're my life. We definitely entered a new space with Rita, and I just want to make sure that we recognize it. And I'm going to use this language. Rita is our compliance officer. They are us. Yes. So they're not a disembodied entity that is imposing on our citizens. They are enforcing our legislation, our laws, and our collections. So by entering into the relationship around the subpoena program as well as the non-filer program, we do two things. The non-filer program, what it does is it captures dollars that have already been withheld from people's checks that is sitting in an unclaimed fund. In order for us to get our portion of it, our residents have to file and identify that, yes, my employer took out taxes and this belongs to North College Hill. As long as they don't file, it just sits in a fund waiting to be identified for us to be dispersed to us. So that's the number one benefit of the non-filer program. Now,
Who is holding that? The IRS?
No, Rita. They got it's a bucket of money because employers there's a lot of employers who's like, yes, we will withhold for you. However, you still have to file. if you don't file, it's just money that comes from all the employers. So the resident has to file to identify that those dollars, they're not just my dollars, but they belong to my city. So that's the number one benefit of the non-filer program. One of the, the overflows of the non-filer program is that now we find people who haven't filed. I mean, not haven't filed, but who haven't paid. That's the benefit of this. They call it, she hates the subpoena program name, but it's the program that gives us access as a city to federal forms that have been filed. You filed your 1040. You have an address that's here in North College Hill. Where is North College Hill's portion? Without that program, we have no idea, and we did not have any idea prior to entering into that relationship. We now know. Then there's the next level. Okay, we now know. You and Rita have talked. We've established that you have a debt with us. Now let's work on getting it paid. Come up with a payment plan, and they're very, very generous. Work really hard to get rid of P&I, which is penalties and interest, because the goal is not to overtax our residents. It's simply to encourage compliance. But what happens, and actually and this is happening in 27, and I learned that at our meeting, Rita has now engaged in a relationship with the state of Ohio that will be able to tack on or pull from lottery winnings. We'll be able, so we're now going to the next level of gambling winnings. So we're now going to the next level that says you've been identified as a taxpayer in the city of North College Hill. You have a debt with the city of North College Hill. You've entered into a payment plan, and apparently you've defaulted on that exact plan. We now have to go to the next level in order to recoup dollars.
Yeah, thank you for that oversight, that insight that really helps us see how it impacts North College Hill. But what I was looking for specifically is how it impacts our budget if we're $2 million over. So we're looking at the state level. We're looking at how we're aggressively reaching out to those individuals and now utilizing another space. But when we look and forecast as a council, what we're responsible to do is to look at the budget, determine where we need to trim and how we can make it through 26, and then how we can forecast in 27. So what I'm looking to know specifically is those new revenues. Now, it's good that we have code. I appreciate what Mr. Wallace is doing. It's good that we have those rental registrations. We're not sure the revenue that is generating in the city. We understand that RETA is something that we are all working towards passionately to aggressively pursue those individuals. But I'm also just wondering, from your perspective, and you may not know that, and that's perfectly fine, but what additional revenue spaces are we not tapping into as a city that we're missing out on? You've identified 3 in the year that you've been here. So if you can help council foresee what we need to have eyes on so that we can better determine how we can move forward. And then along with that question, I'm looking at the bank statement. It says we have $9 million. So I'm wondering how you can maybe help me understand how we're over budget.
Okay, so we're going to go new revenue space, mandatory business registrations with RETA, not just with us, but that in order to get a permit, that's a new revenue stream that we're looking and see how we can implement this, of saying in order to attain a permit in the city of North College Hill, you must register as a business with RETA.
Madam Chair.
What that does is this at least puts our eyes on people that are doing business in our city, which then allows insight into, are they filing their taxes and things of that nature properly. Now, to answer your question around the $9 million, because I knew that one was coming, because it always is, I would direct your attention to the current month-to-date combined fund report.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the title again, Mrs. Stevens-Knott?
While she's looking for that.
I might have made that. I know it says combined fund report. Oh, yeah, it is. Combined month-to-date, year-to-date fund report.
Page 19 of the, if you're on.
Okay.
PDF.
Page 19 or,
19.
okay. Thank you.
This is how your $9 million is broken up. General fund, 4 million and some change. Street fund, 200.
Oh, that's
street-
clear. We're good.
Okay.
That's very, very clear. It's reserved. It's, yeah, Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay.
Mr. Steen.
That's okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Madam Mayor.
I had one question, Ms. Stevens not.
Yes, ma'am.
I know sometimes when the state gets involved, you talked about the lottery winnings. I know sometimes they take income tax. Is that included in that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it gets to that level, they'll take their,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I just
ma'am.
wanted to, I knew that, but I didn't hear you say that.
You're
So I
right.
just wanted to see if that was part of what we were, okay.
That's
ma'am.
the gambling that you were talking about, right? The
Yeah,
gambling.
so you know how we basically what we are doing is that we're moving into becoming an offset entity. So people get their income taxes offset for child support. You can get we will become an entity that can have people's taxes offset to us for their taxes that's owed locally. And this is important because I understand our constituents, their heart hurts a little bit when they get these notices. But it's important that we, as a city, understand that we did not go from hi, you owe us taxes to tomorrow we want your house. It's a very long, intentional, diligent process. And that our compliance officer, that being Rita, works very hard to work with people as opposed to not working with them. My hope, because we talked about the baskets a little earlier, is we will now also have cards. Say, welcome to the neighborhood. North College Hill, we're having them personalized right now, or customized right now. I'm actually thinking, I'm sorry, because I don't mean to blindside you when I say this. A thought of, once a year going up to our big apartment complexes and giving them a stack of them
I love
and
that.
saying, as people rent from you, give them this card.
That's a great idea.
Because what I read too, so I see people saying, well, I didn't know that we were a taxing entity. What I do now for renters, I might understand that. Owners, I don't. Because they tell you when you're signing your loan documents for where you're moving. It's just whether or not you were paying attention. But for renters, I understand. You might not know that North College Hill is a taxing locality. So this is a way of just kind of informing them and using our renting companies as a conduit of information.
That's excellent. Madam Chair, just have one more statement referencing Rita. That's excellent recommendations. Thank you, Mrs. Stevens, not for that. Similar to how, and you're right, because we are a transient community, people come in and out, and they may not know as a renter. Homeowners, you should. But I'm wondering, similar to how we addressed the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks issues last month, a lot of people were kind of caught off guard. The city put out what I believe was a sufficient statement to help them understand. Is there anything that we can do right now? So I understand we were looking at passing out literature and the welcome baskets, new apartments, but is there anything that we can put as a blurb on our city's website and or our social spaces? Those are two areas that are readily available now. And even if it's something that simply says, hey, we are a Rita municipality, however administration. But I do believe that it would really help with the communication. I think that's really key here. The communication is not there. And I'm sure many of us saw the sentiments of the mother last week who was sharing on Facebook. She's a single mom, doesn't live here anymore, doesn't know what to do, X, Y, and Z. Ms. Gaston, you shared some commentary with her, but what can we do right now, right? And I'm looking on the website right now, I see nothing about Rita at all.
So I will tell you that what I have learned is that if you constantly have Rita out there, nobody sees it. So I do provide quarterly, quarterly estimated, your estimated taxes are due. Because then it pops them, because when you see, if something just stays there, you stop seeing it. So it's about bringing it back. So during
So quarterly.
calculated times, and I always speak about Rita in the newsletter. And then last year, normally towards the end of the year, I started at every council meeting. I go, let's not ignore Rita. I was like, that's the hill I'm dying on. Every month, it's like, let's not ignore Rita. So I think what has happened is that people, again, were taken off guard because we as a city made a decision to start being in compliant with our own laws and taxing statutes. And we had been lax for a while.
Yes. Well, we appreciate what you're doing.
Madam
Definitely.
Chair,
Yes, Ms. 16.
I would like to just give absolute sentiments to what the statement she just said. We had been lax in prior years. So because of that, it's the same with the code enforcement, just the aggressiveness that has been pursued. Now it's people are taking note to like, hey, I didn't have to fill out a permit before, so now I do have to fill out a permit. We get a lot of that feedback, but as it relates to taxes, I was going to just share, yes, it is in the newsletter. It is, I bring it up in my articles. Ms. Stevens-Knott brings it up in her articles. It is also freely advertised on the social spaces when we did the initiative this year to bring the tax station. I can concur that we had plenty of residents that come in, and when they are discussing their tax, they're getting alerts to say, hey, I owe $3,000. I like to say that first collection is very low-lying fruit for the city to be able to pull those dollars in that are just sitting in buckets at the Rita space that belong to us. We just need to match residents with dollars so that we can bring those in. That's super low-lying fruit. The other thing is with the rental registration, we are requiring our rental registration documents when they go out. We are requiring our landlords to notify their residents that they are required to register with Rita. The most difficult place isn't our larger rentals because they are compliant. It is actually our homeowners in those spaces, and that is what we're trying to do is connect with our real estate agents, the ones that we know. If they register, they call all the time to say, hey, does this property have any title block or anything in it? That's actually them asking us if we have any liens against that property per our city. I am then saying, hey, you guys need to tell your resident that's looking at this potential property that if they close here, they owe Rita taxes, and we can send out documentation there. So I think in terms of the new administrative space, mental space around taxes, we are doing everything we can to try to make sure that we make residents knowledgeable and aware.
Perfect, thank you. So, I'm sorry, do we have any other questions about? All right, so that is the 22, we kind of jumped. The 2027 budget is number 8 on our agenda this evening. And if you don't mind, I think I heard that, Ms. Stevens-Knott, you want to probably talk about that a little bit more in July. Can I leave that whole number, all of
Definitely.
the contents on, I'll put that on the July agenda again. And we'll talk probably a little deeper about real numbers instead of abstract ideas.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And Ms. Stevens-Knott, I just want to remind you that we talked about our office,
Oh, our office, you're right. We said August, didn't we?
September.
Oh, September, I'm sorry. Well, yes, I'm sorry. If we could, I don't want to give you nothing crazy. We'll probably be closer, because I won't get our estimated resources from the county until July. Because we'll have the public hearing in July. And so it's from there, that becomes our base. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, let's push that to September to be a little bit more concrete. It'll have some meat to it, and it won't change as much.
All the way till September?
Yeah, if I give it to you in July, it's gonna change a lot. It's gonna change a lot. But if we give it to you in September, it should be closer.
Where's August?
We're gonna split the baby? Okay, let's split the baby.
Madam Chair.
Can we, or is that pushing it?
Madam Chair.
It's gonna change. It's
Madam
gonna
Chair.
change a lot.
All right.
Madam Chair.
We'll do it in September. Yes, Ms. Sixteen.
So there's an update, and so Ms. Shiva Stevens-Knott and I talked about this today. There's the mid-year assessment that the administration will be doing with the different departments that needs to be done for June. And we will not be able to deliver that to our to the department heads, which comes through, anyway, we have to close out June first to see where our spendings and expenditures were for the month of June in order to give them the mid-year update. Then you have the Hamilton County assessment for our city. And then we have to look through and look at the trends of the spending. Like, for example, with our new FOP rollout and the back pay, we would need to look at overtime and collaborating and bringing together those line items that we looked at, made notes for last year. So if we are summarizing all of those things for the month of July, we would need through August to process that. And so when I set a timeline for the budget, it was September. I know that that seems late, but that's in part as we're improving in this process, why we got so many renditions of the budget. I think that administration would be better set to give an update in September.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
I believe Ms. Gaston's next.
Ms. Stevens-Knott, she has answered it, so I'm good.
All right, Madam Mayor.
So, just general questions, I like to ask, just so we can be prepared. On here, it says, under the 2027 budget, number 1, should that be separate by levy? Separate by levy?
I just wanted the revenue and then the separated levies.
So each
separated.
levy, separate,
Yes.
that's what I meant, separate
Yes.
by each levy, okay. And then the spending overall, or is that per department, or per? I just, because sometimes
The whole barrel.
okay, but sometimes you guys want that barrel into baskets, so you want fire here, police here. Do you want overall spending or spending per department?
She did.
Because police can spend this, fire can spend this, finance can spend this. So do you want to separate it or just,
Yes, separate.
okay.
I-
You think?
I think I'm answering
Yeah.
what you're asking.
Because she can say we spent $50,000 over here, but finance spent 25, but not give you that. I just want to make sure that when we're doing it, that we're doing it to specify how you want it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Ms. Curitan.
Thank you so much. Just one more question for you, Mrs. Stevens-Knott. So you definitely have me concerned with us being in the deficit so far with our budgets.
Ms. Carrington,
Yes.
the council saw it. It wasn't a surprise.
I'm new to council, so I
Okay.
can't speak
I
for
was
what
like,
happened. So
Okay.
let me just clarify. I'm new to council, sworn in January 1st. I can speak to what happened in 25, 4, 3, or 2. I can't. What I'm looking at is 26 forward. And what I'm concerned with is that we are in a deficit. In fact, I sat in the audience for a number of months and was always told the statement, we have $9 million in the bank, don't worry. So now I actually see the bank statement on this side of the table. It kind of gives me a different viewpoint. So thank you for understanding that. To my point, I know that we want to end in the green, or in the green and black, right? But what is your forecast? Do you believe that at the end of the year we will have a surplus? Or do you believe that we're going to end 2026 in a deficit if we keep at the current pace that we're at now?
If we keep at the current pace that we're at now, we will not save money on our budget.
And so how do you believe, because council legislatively has the responsibility and to make sure that we are spending our dollars and ending the year on a good note, green, black, how do you believe, because I'm looking to have this discussion now. Typically in the years past, I sat in the audience and the discussion wasn't had until October, November, and December, and then we're rushing to push a budget through. I want to see different going forward. So how can we now, end of June we are, and we're going to have a discussion start in July for the 2027 budget, but I don't know if we are ready to talk about the 2027 budget if we're going to end 2026 without a surplus, with a deficit. So how can we tackle our problems now to correct them and then in a more healthy manner prepare for 27?
So,
Ms. Stevens, can I jump in for a quick second?
yeah.
So I don't, and holler if I'm speaking out of turn, we're not ending in a deficit.
That is correct. I was
We-
gonna.
What? So we had,
If we're over
Like-
budget, how are we not?
because we had carryover before that. So we had, so let's just, I'm going to use very raw numbers. Let's say we get $7 million as revenue in 2026, but we're planning on spending 7.5 million.
Yeah.
We had 2 million that was a carryover. So we still have 1.5 million left at the end of that. Is that, okay.
So I think words matter. So deficit suggests that you don't have any money, so you've spent more money than you have.
We can't do that.
Correct. We cannot do that.
We'll just have an unbalanced.
Unbalanced budget means that you're spending in that current year more dollars than you're going to bring in. So our budget for 2026 was unbalanced because we budgeted that we would spend more dollars than our revenue would be.
Good.
Which was why we made the decision as a city that we needed to be very aware of every opportunity to raise dollars, and is also why I fought like hell about them contracts. Because because that's a weight that we gotta carry for the next whatever time.
Got it. So thank you for clarifying that. Unbalanced versus deficit definitely doesn't mean the same thing. But even then, how as a city do we look ending our year with an unbalanced budget, right?
Well,
So
the
even
government
that-
does it every year, but
Yeah.
it's knowledge that is important to have, and our goal is to try to get as balanced as possible. But it's also the space that this is where you start making decisions of, if you have a levy, are you asking for an increase? Are we looking at possibly increasing our tax rate? These are the places that those conversations start to happen. Because as I've stated multiple times, you cannot not buy enough pens or reams of paper.
Sure.
You can't. So the top feeds the bottom.
So thank you for sharing that. So even though we're not ending with a deficit, we're still operating with a deficit if we have an unbalanced budget. And so however we want to word it, we still have a money problem. At the end of the day, it's a money problem. And so whatever way we want to tackle it, we need to tackle it. If you can let council know in July, and I am asking you to.
It'll be close. It'll be September.
Well, let me ask you, when I'm asking in July, I'm not asking about the budget. I'm asking what areas do you believe that we need to start trimming the fat now so that not for the 2027 budget, I'm talking about 2026. Although we are not ending the year in a deficit, we're still operating in a deficit. And so how can we make sure that we're not even doing so?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. 16.
I don't think that the $2 million that we're going into our reserve is possible to undo what we
Okay.
are. Specifically, because when we did the FOP contract, we budgeted for 4, 4, and 4. We ended up doing the amount on the dollar amount and 5, 5, and 5. So what we will be doing, and Ms. Stevens and I have definitely been advantageous even before when we realized, hey, we're going to go into our savings. We were looking for opportunities to increase dollars. Like she said, one of the things that we have been talking about is making sure that we collect in our code enforcement space because we now have a full-time code enforcement officer. We talked about bringing forth the legislation that makes our businesses register. When we looked, we actually already have legislation, we just weren't enforcing it. And so we have opportunities in our mayor's court to increase those. What we don't want to do is become a city that's overtaxing our residents. We don't want to do mayor's court in one space, taxes in another, overinvested in levies, which is why we had conversations about, you know, how we ticket in our police department and our tow lots, and those types of things. We are looking at other business concepts that many cities actually adopt. So for example, I'm not saying that North College Hill would do this, but if you all look at an example city would be the city of Woodlawn, who ventured out into a business concept through their fire department in order to make sure that they were supplementing for their dollars. And so right now, our focus is cutting the fat, looking for things like, hey, we may not be able to buy this, which is why we've had very small and reserved spendings for the first half of the year. And we will continue on that pace to be able to curve the deficit, or not the deficit, but the spending into our savings as much as possible. That is our job. That is my job. That is looking for those dollars. So, and not my heart behind it is also not overtaxing residents specifically. They cannot all bear we cannot. I'm a resident too. We cannot all bear the burden of it. We have to make sure that we are leveraging those business. For example, that's the drive behind the businesses, because businesses live outside of North College Hill. So when people come in and they have to do a registration fee. For example, like when you have a new HVAC system, they have to register with us to be able to, and there's a fee for that. And we have to make sure that we are getting our permits. A lot of those charges are through the business, and they are having to get those ahead of time. And so enforcement of that is a big part of making sure, cracking down on our rental registration. Those are ideas and things and concepts that we're coming up with in order to remedy some of the spendings that we have. We can better prepare now that we have gotten through most of our bargaining agreements. We have one more. That is our public works one. And we'll be putting that on the budget and finance agenda here soon when we touch down with our ASME representative for our public works department.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Tuxtine. I want to move along because we are now 3 minutes over, and I'm trying to tighten the ship on this meeting. We've been going way too long. Next on our agenda is the electrical boxes. I know I heard, Ms. Tuxtine, that you said we did not pay for that out of the ARPA funds. So I'm wondering what line item was used and if we have a total amount on that.
We haven't paid for them at all.
Have we been invoiced and just hasn't been paid yet, or
we
nothing?
received our invoice today.
We did get it to.
When I looked at
All
this,
right.
because you sent this out, and I was like,
Yep.
wow, did we ever get the invoice? So I reached out to them and said, hey, did we get the invoice? We had not, so we got it. I got it in my email box today.
All right. We will move
But
on.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure you are aware that the electrical boxes down Hamilton Avenue, they were already previously paid for. The ones that we're paying for are the ones down Galbraith Avenue. We had a previous contract with TEPI, and those were already paid for. They just came out and they did the work because we, just by the employment turnover, no one had ever followed through on the contract, but we had already paid for it. So those we will not see. The ones down Galbraith Avenue, which is why we did not have Christmas lights, those are the ones that we had to pay for. 2 separate projects, same title.
Galbraith Avenue?
Galbraith Avenue, yep.
Or is there a difference?
Hamilton, Galbraith.
All right. I don't have anything listed in old business. Madam Vice Chair, do you have
Madam Chair.
anything that I
I do.
neglected? Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things from our.
Sorry, I do want to fly through these as quickly as we can now.
Absolutely,
All
they
right.
should be able to be flown through
Perfect.
super quickly.
Thank
At our
you.
May 22nd meeting, Ms. Dixon, excuse me, you were to provide us with the new legislation for the vacant property report. At that meeting, we received, I believe it was the trash or grass assessment, and we were going to review that at this meeting. Do we have an update on that?
We do. So we talked to Scott Ritter, and we have to go through a different step to provide that vacant property update. And so we are now looking to do that through our mayor's court. It's not a council piece of legislation.
Okay. And so council,
I'm sorry, I want to be clear. So I did have that moved to, is that the same thing that I moved to the parking lot?
I don't believe so. No.
It is.
That, the resolution that we talked about in May?
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
this says
May.
tall grass and trash, and what I'm referring to is
Right.
vacant property.
That was the same.
But I think
piece
it
of
had the
legis-
wrong name. I think that was one
did.
of the issues. It had the wrong name on it.
it-
So
this-
Is that,
Yes.
are we talking about this? Okay.
Yes.
We are all talking about the same thing.
Sorry, she asked me the question and I
Yes.
answered it, but it is in the parking lot.
Okay.
So are we putting in the parking lot the tall grass
Nope,
and
it's-
trash? We're putting in the parking lot for vacant property.
From what I understood, it's going away because it's going to be
Yeah.
handled in mayor's court. So
Okay.
we'll never see this legislation.
We will see it, but it has to go to mayor's court first.
Okay. And then come back to budget and finance?
It may not ever get to mayor's budget and finance. These are the ones that don't remedy the scenario
Okay.
first. So they have an opportunity to remedy it through mayor's court.
Okay. So to be clear, as far as my agenda, this agenda,
You
it
can
can
take it
come off
off.
this agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Please continue, Ms.
Yes, and
Secretary.
thank you so much, Madam Chair. The other was the topic regarding the expenditures for the Public Works Building, how much has been spent and how much was left. You were to come back to us and let us know that at the June meeting.
The Public Works building, what are you
Mhm.
referring to specifically?
So there was a question
Doors.
made at the, in committee, let me know if
Doors.
I'm sorry, yeah, well, we talked about the doors, but there was supposed to be a list of everything that was utilized or repaired or corrected or beautified at the Public Works building, in May. We spoke on it. You were supposed to come back to this committee in June with a list of everything that has been spent, how much was expended, because I realized there was a conversation a statement rather that was made. We have it to be paid, but we have not invoiced it, so we have not sent the funds. I think that was from you, Mrs. Stevens, not even to the tune
I
of
think there
saying,
was some discrepancy of whether or not we could have used ARPA funds or whether it had to come out of the general fund or some other line item. And I think that's,
But didn't we, I feel like in the special meeting, we addressed all of that. Because the special meeting had the list of all items against ARPA funds that had been spent and what it got spent on. Because that was the spirit of the conversation. And so, because I believe that the question from this committee was about the 400,000 or 480,000, whatever that number is, and that Ms. Dukestein was speaking about the 800,000 overall.
the question from this, and thank you for that. The question from this committee was that we were unaware that there was expenditures for doors. We wasn't sure if it was the entry door, if it were the garage door. We were not sure of that expenditure. And we were not sure how much of ARPA had been expended so that we don't lose it and how much was remaining. And Ms. Dukestein was supposed to come back to this committee with those findings.
But the special
It was not
meeting had-
discussed.
But the special meeting had those findings.
The special meeting went over what was part of the PO. What I believe to be different is that what was listed on the PO
No.
is, so are we saying that the doors that are listed on the 2024 PO is different from the doors that Ms. Dukestein mentioned? Ms. Dukestein is shaking her head yes.
No, well, first of all, there are no doors mentioned on the PO, but in the supporting documentation around the ARPA funds in totality, in the back, there is a document that speaks to everything that was spent, 800,000 down to the 400 and some change. And so in there, you see dollars spent from the ARPA grant, the totality of the grant for Public Works doors.
But I think that says Public Works garage doors, and I thought that was the delineation, whether they were,
Those are the doors that were, those were the doors that were paid for. And I believe that day I stated, and I don't know if I stated here, but I said, I think we're all talking about the wrong thing.
Yes.
I was
Me and you.
right. I was like, so we needed to bring our lives together because so that it wasn't about we're not being it again. One conversation was about 800,000 and another conversation was about 480.
Correct.
The doors are part of the 480. There has been absolutely not one dime spent from the RWB purchase order that was issued at the end of 2024 of the $480-something thousand. Not one dime of that has been spent on anything.
So in our, Madam Chair, in our May meeting, it was stated from Ms. Dukestein, and we have the notes, the meetings are recorded, thankfully, is that there was a project that was started at the Public Works building to help preserve the funds so that some is used now, where we're going to put it towards a project. If we're now stating that that did not occur,
Madam Chair.
I'm just looking for clarification.
Madam Chair,
yes, Ms. Gaston.
I believe in our special meeting, Ms. Dukestein stated that she had learned later that she did not have to do that. And so therefore, it hasn't gone against the 480. Am I correct, Ms. Dukestein?
Yes, absolutely.
So if we're not talking about ARPA, then was there any dollars expended for the beautification, even from the general fund for Public Works building?
There will not be any beautification dollars, but there will
Any
be.
dollars? Take away the word beautification, any dollars.
I was going to answer your question in totality. Yes, there will be dollars spent. No, they have not been, we don't have an invoice or anything yet to give. But those dollars are gonna be under 75,000. And there is a line item for Public Works for general maintenance that will come out of.
All right. Is that it, Ms. Secretary?
And then I believe also, Mrs. Stevenson, I think you spoke to it, that you were going to offer us an open PO report. That was also discussed in our May meeting, that going forward, you would provide that to this committee.
I forgot.
It's okay, no worries.
Let me add that. I can add that to the packet.
You can have that for the July meeting. Okay, thank you.
Actually, I can send it as supplemental.
Oh, great.
So I'll send you,
appreciate that.
Madam Chair, I will send you a supplemental open PO report.
Perfect. Are we there?
We are, thank you.
Perfect.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Madam
I
Mayor?
don't know if this is old business. Are you finished with your old business?
I want
This
to
is
be.
very small. Your date has the 21st.
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I corrected that at the beginning.
I
Sorry.
missed it.
I corrected everything. I had number 4 in there, and
I
that
only
shouldn't be
heard
in
the
there either.
cross out, so I do
Yep.
apologize.
Yep. All right. New business. Going once?
Madam Chair.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Why
I'm
did
so
we vote
sorry.
fast?
I just wanted to update the Budget and Finance Chair that I am going to get quotes to tear down the building. I did see some conversation around the tear down and even a comparison to Forest Park. What I would say to you is that Forest Park received a $7.9 million grant, but that is not the total cost of the tear down. And as I've been calling around, and I will bring it in writing because I think you deserve to see that so that we can fully assess what it's going to look like to tear the building down. But $355 per square foot is an accurate round of what it will look like to tear that building down.
Thank you. Ms. Chichester, did you have something in new business?
I just wanted to ask a favor for, especially with my hectic schedule. If we can, I know we got the documents really late last night with the new budget and things are coming down the line, and sometimes we do have people in the audience. Can we get them in advance so that I have more time to review them for
Yeah,
myself?
and I have every single time except for
Yes, so I
I've
just
had
wanted to
a
make
crazy
sure.
weekend, a lot of personal stuff going on, so I apologize. Yeah, I'm not going to air my dirty laundry, but yes.
No, I was
I had a
just
lot of
making sure that. I was
personal
like-
issues going on this weekend, so I just didn't have time. I apologize.
No, thank you. I just, for my scheduling, I,
I understand.
thank you.
All right, we have one item still in the parking lot that the mayor asked me to put there, and I'm assuming she has no update. So it's the the mental health awareness annual visit for first responders. You just asked me to keep it there. Is that all right? That's fine. Just stay there? All right, and then the next item in the parking lot, we are removing because it's going to go to mayor's court and maybe not come back.
Madam Chair. I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
Mr.
do have one more question. It's a part of old business. Is it okay that I go back just very quickly?
You got 2 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'll speak really fast. Ms. Dukestein, there was questions earlier in the year, I believe it was around March, about applying for Metro grants. I'm not sure if this committee, and forgive me if you gave us an update, but can you give an update this evening on what grants were applied for and if we were approved for any and the dollar amounts associated?
We do not have any update at this time. Yes, there were grants applied for. They don't have names. They're just the specific categories that would apply to North College Hill. We have more dollars that we'll be applying for. Also, as the coming months, I'm meeting with Metro to talk about what specifically would apply to North College Hill pending what we will do in the plan and the rollout action. I definitely do not plan to leave council in the dark in terms of the community development space of that. As I know more, I will give more. I am only able to give so much because they are in their own process of applying for grants. Grant applications are super tender, and we don't want to talk about them ahead of time, which is kind of why we held off even as it relates to the Hamilton County dollars. You want to be very cautious at how you say what you say. So with that, I would say I don't have an update at this time, but we did apply for some things.
Thank you so much. Just asking because the deadline was May 29th, so hoping we met that deadline as a city.
Yes, but I also responded via email.
There's more than one grant.
Perfect. All right.
I said we
So
didn't
we
have
are
that.
going to adjourn.
Don't
It is
argue.
8:18.
Look at
Argue.
God.
We're getting better.
We're getting better.
Good night, everyone.